Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Giddy up, giddy up. Boom, 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 boom. Bucking the preacher. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, but keep it up. A man should not be judged by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. We shall overcome. Hello. Hey. Hi, everybody. Social media family. Being of any subscribers to that being of my own social media channel, and likewise any visitors for that being the same of the said in question and of the former previous prior mentioned. How are you all doing? Hopefully everyone is doing this okay. If not better yet to be said, to be feeling all right, or if not best of all to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully me and mine, likewise, as well as all the same. Well, whatever I said. That's speaking correct, proper standard, any grammar of American dialect of some such qualities and quantities or not. Or the thought. Well, but then, well, my brother, he since decided to make contact with me. And my flesh and blood brother. And hopefully he himself is trying to think of it with my intention to try to get right with God, you know. I mean, I can't be dealing with all this back and forth, funny acting business, you know. You know, how he himself be coming off like Cain killed Abel and so forth. You be wondering, as it could bring to mind, where it would have a person saying, ooh, excuse me, things are hard. Are you your brother's keeper? Hmm? Know what I'm saying? Know what I mean? Or hopefully much more than a proverbial neighbor from down hell, being among the dime a dozen. Public nuisance is a problem neighbors. Oh, they're hot. Like the one, being of whom I personally have for myself as of the present given moment in time. Gotta look this direction is where my window is at, next to the fire escape, and make sure this window's locked. Then my washroom window in another direction is like directly in front of a fire escape. So I will most definitely have to double check and triple check that window. And then there's my apartment door in this direction. It comes to like some proverbial neighbors from down hell called the nuisance problem maker. Not that that is meant to be that the content of this one particular present social media broadcast, but as you all have witnessed, what I meant to say, well, that's one way of putting it. I meant to say notice, but then witness is a better word. That of the headline being of the name title for this particular social media broadcast or video of mine, and as well you can check out the footnotes. You know, hopefully the the intro would complement that being the same and so forth, as much. And this is one of the most challenging social media broadcast videos, practically or possibly being on which I have had to do, as it could possibly bring up some of my own, you know, personal skeletons in the closet or ghosts of the past. But then I am in recovery for alcohol addiction and for drug addiction. If you look at it from a point of view so far as concerning how I myself am a recovering reefer addict, that was my drug of choice, or still is, that of reefer, peyote, marijuana. I'm just in recovery for it at the moment. I'm not even checking that out. Not to mention having suppose that giving up the drinking, of intoxicating alcoholic beverages, and whereas I'm at least a year sober, refraining from either this or that, or refraining from living my life, in that living down hell of the bottle, or living my life in that living down hell of the pipe was. Yeah, but then this is not what I had meant to speak upon either. I was just saying as it will reflect or complement what I am about to, give my own personal views and opinions upon. As I said, if you were to notice or witness the title, you know, and this is regarding or making reference to the one black brother by the name of a one Mr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. If any of you all are familiar with his television show, or whereas his program is having to deal with or regarding making reference to how he himself is supposed to be quite skilled or has a license degree or credentials in helping others find their roots. Funny thing is, he never got back with me when I was trying to find mine. Before now, one of the last links for me to really trace my ancestors as far back as I would like to is dead and gone. The maternal head being of a matriarch for my own immediate personal family household, who had passed away, or hopefully that was the case, then the suspected foul play was involved in their premature deaths of both of the two maternal heads of matriarchs for my own immediate family household, being not only my mom, but my grandma had passed like a couple few years before my mom, and as I suspected, both of them had become subject to experiencing foul play at likewise the different address locations of hospitals as well as nursing homes that they were at. And then this particular present social media broadcast of video is not of this content either, but like I said, if it anything, and as you notice, witness the title and check out the footnotes in the intro. Hopefully the intro does just as much justice to the title for this particular present social media broadcast as well as the footnotes, and as it is regarding or making reference to the one brother by the name of Mr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. And where he's supposed to help people find his roots. But first of all, let me ask you all the question: how are you all doing? Oh, I already asked you that, didn't I? There's no harm in repeating something, sir. But anyway, though, moving right along, practically, I can if I'm snorting cocaine or something. I don't do that. Anyway, though, moving right along. Now that I got the preliminary, the basic introduction out the way, yeah, then I am covered, as I would say, in one regard and another, especially this, more than this. Anyway, though, as you know, this one brother, he hosts a television program. Be it paid to do so or not, whereas he helps many different persons find their roots. And Though I admire the brother for going about doing so, but then it's still all the same. You know, it's not one of my much more favorite television or educational television programs to watch or view or whatever, however say it, or however one would put it. Yeah, speaking correct, proper standard English grammar and American dialect, some of its qualities and quantities are not, especially if I'm butchering the English language for our own American dialect. So I apologize for that. But anyway, it just brings back, as I was saying before, so I said, yeah, and I'll say, for the rest, it just brings back, bring up, matters of my own personal skeletons in the closet, or ghosts of the past, and in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. But then God has not given us a spirit of fear, so yes. Anyway, though, he be going pretty much so deep as he can, or as far back as he could, to investigate or research matters in regard to a person's ancestral lineage, being a descendants of some or such, and maybe that's one of the reasons why some white boy police officer cops had roughed them up a little at one time or another before, supposedly, my big brother or our big brother for blacks, if you look at him that way, my big brother, President Barack Hussein Obama, had intervened in his behalf, in the great behalf of their interest, whereas he didn't get so much smoke coming his way after that, when they recognized and realized that he's himself is, though he was pretty much so a shot caller before them, especially when they found out that he has ties to the first historical black presidents of the USA. So that kind of like, stopped them in their tracks. Oh, none of that. Any static coming from him. Big shot caller like my brother, being as he is, especially if him and his wife, the former ex first lady, could drop it like it's hot otherwise, or have somebody sharing, a cubicle in Davy Jones' locker. What's the best tuna chicken of the sea? Just get me to think about Mrs. Kathy Griffin, with the way she herself had mocked our former ex, twice impeached, but yet twice acquitted, for all races of people's person. No offense. No, can't even get my words to that. That's my speech. Got me sound like Elmer Fudd. Slashed along with speech effect. And maybe possibly likewise, like, the great communicator, Ronald Wilson Reagan, you know, with the memory last episode. Then at one time or another, and I'm going to get back with some of such before I lose my train of thought to finish up as a complete a former freedom pride line of thought in regard to that possible closet transgender Kathy Griffin, who had, you know, constructed, manufactured a bogus video in regard to our Führer, all races, Donald J. Trump, and the Führer word, that is the word of Führer, doesn't or don't necessarily have to be ascribed to or be associated with a despot or dictator, like, you know, the dictator of Nazi Germany, or the other one for, you know, Italy or Japan, etc., or Russia for that matter. But anyway, what was I about to say? Hmm. Having a burning desire to express yourself, and then you could get caught up in the moment. Then all things supposed to work for the good guy. What did I last? But then, no offense is meant to be directed at my white Jewish brethren. You know, when I said I was just trying to make a point in regard to the full for all races. You know, being of Donald J. Trump before he started to go off the deep end, like the king has no clothing. You know, like. Beep 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 cuckoo. I'm cooking with Cocoa Pops. Cooking with Cocoa Pops. And making fun of the mentally challenged and attempting to have others overthrow our U.S. government and our democratic way of life, you know, to attempt to turn the United States of America into a dictatorship in its own right, is that one may say? No. Eventually, it could possibly literally be, you know, what you call, I don't know, the ruling elites cash cow or empire of a dictatorship pretending to have become or be a democratic republic democracy, but it's just actually a kingdom or empire dictatorship with its own private police and military force. Could be. It's a QAnon theory, QAnon conspiracy theory in the making. I think that's what I need to talk about either. But getting back to the original subject matter or topic of discussion to be debated, and hopefully these here is not like get me thinking about so much other and blowing my mind like. Yeah. Now I know I should have my own talk show, you know, like Jerry Seinfeld or something, my white Jewish brethren, or like Mike Rappaport, hoping not to be pissing people off and so forth. Then one time another Jerry Seinfeld he was invited to my big brother President Barack Obama's White House, but then, you know, um, the former ex-president had to say to the Secret Service, don't bother him. You know, he's my friend. He's a lot of people's friends. Besides, my popularity ratings will go down because he was outside the White House looking around, practically impossible, like a peeping Tom, I don't know, or like a chicken with his head cut off. Anyway, getting back to some of the other. Nagila haba, nagala haba. Yeah. See, that'll make me quite goofy. I guess if I could fast. Yeah. Anyway, though, this particular present social media broadcast or video is having to do with the brother. And I'm directing my way like I'm so much looking out in the space compared to I like to be facing my audience like you would think of them having a fireside chat with you like the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt or President JFK John F. Kennedy. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring to your attention a very pressing social issue of great controversy that is, in retrospect or regarding or in reference to, however said, quite an amphibian-like creature that our own National Aeronautics and Space Administration has made it official to investigate the mechanics of its flight and etc. Because, as you know, The bird is the word. Haven't you heard? Bow, bow, bow. Anyway, though, getting back to some of the stuff. I know. Now I'm sounding like I got a golden ticket like Eric Cartman in the South Park episode. So, you know. Alien from outer space. Area 51, Area 52. Just a little joke, folks. Disregard what you heard in the background. Or ignore it, the interruptions. Just like interruption, like a proverbial Nate from hell is at it again. One of the demons, spawns of the devil, or minion of the evil one, like Linda Blair, etc. Oh, give me a sign. Do me, baby, one more time. Can't nobody do me like Jesus Christ, superstar. Jesus, Yeshua, Yahweh, Jehovah. But then putting all the jokes aside, because I've wasted practically half an hour. You know, like giving you all a warm up before I get deeply involved into the present social media broadcast on a much more serious note and disregard any interruptions coming from one of these internet trolls at it again. You know, attempting to dump spam on my channel and into my chat on the comments section, you know. But then sorry about the last social media broadcast of video. I didn't complete it like I wanted to. So I'm going to have to do a remake on it sometime in the future, you know. I know that's all while I report this here on internet troll. And I appreciate how they've been lately coming into my chat room quite regularly. Even as spam. You know. But, so getting back to some of society, this one brother, Mr. Henry Louis Gates Jr., he hosts this one educational television show where he be helping people or persons find their roots, you know. And I'm like, what exactly are you going about in your research investigation to help another or some such others? Like, what exactly do you get out of it? How do you feel it betters society or makes America great again? How do you think that could breach the gap, you know, of all the racial divisions and social injustices that one race of people becomes subject to experiencing more than another race of people, or whereas white Karens with their white privilege think that that is going to continue to fly all this here, you know, double standard, whereas eventually the roosters are going to come home the next Sunday, as the late brother Malcolm X had put it, you know. But then that's what probably got him, probably got him assassinated when he didn't show the proper condolences to the Kennedy boys, Camelot's surviving family members, for what he himself had said in regard with reference to the assassination of JFK. Being a wish like 911, could that possibly be what do you call it? What they call it? Inside job. You know, anything. Not to mention, it's supposed to be a hypothetical conspiracy theory that former ex-president Big Bill Clinton has somehow been involved in the death of this one black brother of a political cabinet member of his by the name of Ron Brown. I can't remember, something like Then getting back to some and such others. So I be wondering, you know, why would you want to I mean, not that it's something, you know. I mean, if anything, more than quite a few people. Sorry about that, you all. Okay, I'm back. I was checking out this on the side. I had there's a video that popped up, but I thought I lost you. That is. Boy, I got the video. The visual and audio. Yes. But why would you, if it could? I mean, one of these days he may run into an encounter, you know, another person that may become so highly affected at the information gathering. One may get quite upset over the information gathering over one's family history that you never know if people could freak out and become quite quite physically violent. No, I think they would scream. Guess anyway. You know, just get me thinking about how this one white boy, what's his name, Jimmy Kimmel, with his talk show, he always be like saying something like, "What is that, Brad Pitt or Matt Damon?" Sorry, we didn't have time for Matt Damon. Maybe next time. I'm like, why don't you just hear him and get him on a show finally? People getting sick and tired of hearing that so far. That is concerned. But then getting back to the original topic of discussion. So that is not one of my much more favorite TV show. I mean, it interests me. I mean, well, no, my bad. Not to mean contradict myself. It is kind of like a show that I like, but at the same time I don't like it. Because a lot of times those episodes of Finding Your Roots. That's the name of the the, the fact fact finding or research or investigative television educational television show that he hosts. I mean, it at times discourages and depresses the damn hell out of me. Whereas if anything, if I had a choice between that television show and an educational television show otherwise, like the life and death of Adolf Hitler, I would be much more interested. Well, if you look at it from one point of view, not another, sometimes, not all the time, and viewing the list to the latter than the the former. And but then I checked it out for two for the present date as we have it. Where something. They said this won't happen. We that is for another 400 something years when the day, the month, the date, no, what did they say? The month, the day, and the year come out with the same numerical digits. I'm like, I'm sounding like quite like a groupie now. Like, man, jump from one subject matter to the next and so on. And I'm going to close out shortly after. I may have to redo this one. But anyway, he digs in people's past. He find out who their grandparents and great grandparents and so on and so on. And I remember he did one episode on that brother, what's his name, Michael Strahan, that be co-hosting the news broadcast television show for Channel 7, being a which parent company is the Disneyland. What you call it. And Walt Disney was a racist. He was a racist. PRCK. I got a golden ticket. Bah, bah, bah. This is rather comical and serious. This social media broadcast present. Oh, this video, putting all jokes aside. So he digs into people's past to try to find out who their ancestors were, what they were like, um, how they fared for the time frame period that they were living. How did they have influence on their descendants? What were they involved in as a means of economic support for business? And then what was their leisure time like for pleasure? Then there's educational aspect and what were their political and religious views and or etc. But then I mean if I would have to find out if he were to have assisted me as in help me find my roots, then I'm a card carrying member to the BPP, Black Panther Party. So if I were to find out that my my, my great grandfather, my great grandfather was a black slave owner of a white boy, I'd be like, cut, pause here, cut. I'd be like ready to walk out or like, cut. Then I'd be like saying in more words or less, something along this line. Thought, hold it. We're not going to include that in the, you know, you can call it breach of contract or whatever you want. You could sue me and I sue you back, but I don't want that. I don't want to be, you can relate to me if one were to have a great, you can relate to me if you're black or not. If one were to have a great grandfather who was a black slave owner, you know, I don't want to hear that shucks, man. Are you, 9 times out of 10, we all have that. More than quite a few is black. Well, not all. We have crazy stuff. Man, because the white boys were, back then were much more likely having a golden ticket to not only rape the black sister, but to rape the black brothers, even so, as they would dish out that buck rat to us, for the much more rebellious or revolting black brothers to to you know go about emasculating their manhood to set an example for any other black males who could possibly be having an ideal to rebel or revolt against their whitey masters, the master whiteys otherwise. So he digs into the past of, you know, different races of individual persons. It don't matter if they're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, etc. You know, and it can be rather discouraging or depressing. You know, television viewing, television watching. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I admire the brother and I applaud him for his research or investigative abilities, but at the same time, looking at it from another point of view, though, I'd be like, why? Why exactly would you really want to do that? I mean, how's it going to change society? You know, if the USA could possibly be literally, actually, just one big oil company with its own private little police and military, and don't really give a rat's ass. Don't really give a hoot about you know any non-whites or whatever races or nationalities. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're blacks, and would continue to mistreat us like second class citizens, and the very minute we we any of us were to speak out, you know, we are automatically labeled as a radical revolutionary, that threatens other races of people's or persons' lives, especially if they get to confusing certain blacks with, regardless of whether or not some of us are the likes of, Nat Turners. Hopefully not, though, because the good book says, "He who lives by the sword shall die by the sword." Then they had thought of or considered the late black social activist, civil rights leader Marcus Garvey to be a radical revolutionary. And there may be some truth more than, not in that last mention, but in the conspiracy theory that I would think that I'm pretty sure that QAnon would like to sink his fangs into that. They had to deport Marcus Garvey because he was going to take away a big source of their black manual labor, whereas the United States of America was mainly or mostly founded on the black manual labor, second class citizens, as some of the whites still think of us as. Not that all whites are racist, And a lot of those racist redneck whites have stole our black pioneering inventions like that, Anyway, though, so this Mr. Did I say minister? Mr. Henry Louis Gates, he be digging into others' past, And if it's not really going to help much, but then something beats nothing. What little effort put forth to make race relations better, then that's all that's really important, But the average racist redneck white boys and white girls are closet Klan and closet, Nazi. They don't care about some black brother trying to dig up some past, because if anything, they think about the present and the future, going to all their paramilitary training camps, planning for the big race war, Then thank God we got black persons who are planning for some or such as well, And I am a card carrying member to the BPP, the Black Panther Party, but I'm not preaching or teaching, race rag. If anything, I'm more of a Christian than anything else that could probably be why I'm not so much as active as the present given time as a card carrying member to the BPP, the Black Panther Party, as yet. But then this country or nation is never going to become or be a true or factual democratic republic or democracy. Don't get me wrong. Don't get to thinking I'm contradicting myself or sounding, quite what's the word? Well, I think you get the general idea. Well, I mean to say the complete or form of fire line. I don't think that the USA is going to become or be a truly factual democratic republic or democracy until those big business CEOs that own these Fortune 500 corporations or companies start to, permit other races of people's persons, particularly and especially blacks, how we are the main ones that have built this country. This country was built on black slave labor. Until they give us an equal share and the economic specters, economic segments or sections of this society, this supposed so-called democratic republic or democracy, that is falling very short on fulfilling its responsibility or obligation to, you know, people of color, Negroes, blacks, or whatever we wish to be called nowadays. Because as long as you're seeing that the majority of the wealth and resources and so forth, with the exception of a few other races of people, but then the Chinese are buying up a whole lot of American real estate, United States real estate. And so they may be the really new white man. You never know. I mean, especially if they're like holding down the fort, like getting intellectual property ownership over, you know, the electronic technological devices, whereas as the years go by, many different facets of society worldwide is tied into electronics. Yes, until the USA start to level the playing field really now by permitting blacks to hold key positions and Fortune 500 big business corporation company, and permit us as well as any other races of people to obtain franchises, to expand, to branch out, to start our own, monopolies. In this country, this nation is always going to continue to be. It's just one for blacks. That is, I don't know about anybody else, but it's gonna be one United Slave States of America. And maybe what we need to do is refresh the ideal of what Marcus Garvey was saying, that we gotta make that exodus out of the belly of the beast, especially if we be on the verge of possibly having to engage in warfare, with Russia, over a breakaway province of Ukraine. Because as I'm hearing it, if the United States of America goes to war with Russia, then it may have to fight China as well. And that's like two against one. And whereas when the roosters come home to nest, because they say there's strong speculation compared to how others contend to differ. Some say that you ain't got to go, you ain't go overseas to pay a visit to Egypt. Egypt is right here. Blasphemous Egypt, or this new Roman Empire. I'm not to be straight from the original subject matter type of discussion, but then though some such other relates, maybe not that so much as what I mentioned in the earlier part of the social media broadcast. Well, hopefully from 1/3 to half or most of what I said relates to what I was like saying in regard to the original subject matter or topic of discussion, or that being which is to be debated or given an argument with many different views and opinions to be associated with it, so far as in due regard reference to the black brother Mr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. with his educational television show of Finding Your Roots, Okay. But it ain't worth much of a hill of beans if all you're gonna do is just dig up the past and you can't find out how you could use that to have politicians pass bills into law to recompensate us, reimburse us for our loss. Oh, we got information on who our ancestors was like back then. Oh, whoop-de-doo. Oh, yeah, so that's who my ancestors like. Now I know who I am, who I come from, but it's still first fired, last hired as a black person. What good is it to dig up the roots if you can't use that within a court of law get some reparation payments. Can you feel me? You understand what I'm saying now? You all, anybody that's viewing and listening to this broadcast, I could practically, if not possibly, say, man, Mr. Henry Louis, what is that? Louis Gates Jr. Man, that ain't, man, BPP, man. That's like ass white paper, man. Lord, I'm afraid of that. Man, throw that out with the trash. We can't use that to petition our lawmakers, our politicians, and attorneys within the court of law to give us some reparation payments for what our peoples has suffered, man. You just wasting your time, man, digging up the past. You making yourself look like a fool for white people, you know? You know what I'm saying? Making the rest of us look like fools. Join a real fact-finding, organization to be about the power of empowering ourselves, like the BPP, Black Panther Party, Because all that other, man, it's like practice not possible. Like, so here's to you, Henry Louis Gates Jr. If you can't get us some money from what you found to empower Black race people's persons. Anyway, though, on this last note of interest, I'd like to say, you all, know what I'm saying? My people for being a whatsoever racist or believers in God, as in Christians and Protestants, not Catholics, not supposed to so-called Jehovah's Witnesses, not supposed to so-called Latter-day Saints and Mormons, because all them false religions ain't going to get you into heaven. Everybody talking about heaven ain't going. But anyway, if you haven't accepted Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins. I recognize, realize, however said, that's speaking correct, proper standard English grammar, American dialect, or not. But by recognizing, realizing what he himself had done upon the cross Calvary on the hill of glory, suffering at the hands of Roman soldiers up on the orders of their superiors, and religious fashions, Sadducees, and Caesars, as well as centurion, but then nevertheless, he had given his life upon the cross Calvary, so that if you profess faith in him, you have that fire insurance policy for the afterlife, for the hereafter. Don't have to worry about ending up in the lake of fire, damn hell to burn with the rest of the unsaved, unbelievers and non-believers, to be tortured and terrorized by the devil and the demon forever. For you will be across that great divide that separates heaven from hell in the company of like-minded believers in God and present God and his angels. You all take care. Peace.